through the hoop, not just for him, but for all the guys. Prior to NC State, Parentes was struggling through the worst shooting slump of his career, including a stretch when he went just 5 of 28 from 3. But he said when he made that first 3 of the afternoon, he just thought, finally, it was such a relief, a weight off his shoulders. So that performance was big, not just to get Virginia back in the win column, but to get their confidence back up. Just like Doris said, they've got to shoot well from deep today. Remember, last time these two teams played, Virginia just 2 of 20 from three-point range.
Ready to go, Jack Salt. Tackled a couple of times for Virginia and White, but did not control the tip. North Carolina attacking immediately. Here's Justin Jackson. And now Isaiah Hicks. Jackson, leading candidate for Player of the Year in the ACC, has had a phenomenal junior season. Has it back from Theo Pinson, and this is way off from three-point range.
Well, it's an interesting start for the Virginia Cavaliers. Here's why, Sean. They are starting their small lineup, which was effective against NC State, but against an imposing and tremendous rebounding team in North Carolina. That is going to be a big-time challenge on the defensive end.
Well, the two freshmen, Ty Jerome and Kyle Guy, starting each for just the second time. And they have not started together. This is a brand new starting lineup for Tony Bennett, trying to go small against this big rebounding team in North Carolina, the best rebounding team in the country. After the Guy miss, Joel buried the push and has it back from Kennedy Meeks. North Carolina, the 7th highest scoring team in the country, the highest scoring team in the ACC at 86.4 points per game against the best scoring defense in the country, coached by Tony Bennett in his 8th season at Virginia. On their way back to the NCAA tournament for the 5th time in the last 6 years. His team gives up just 55.8 points per game.
We talked about that 4-game losing skid. It was all quality teams, and their defense was good enough to keep them in it. It's just that they, I think, have flaws on the offensive end, and you can begin in the post, Sean. They can't dump it into anyone to get easy shots.
Kevin Hall's been an offensive presence lately, but not that time. Short with the layup, and Kennedy Meeks, who averages more than 9 rebounds a game, pulled it down for UNC. Lobbed inside for Meeks. He scores over Jack Salt. Back-to-back double-doubles for Kennedy Meeks entering this game. Had a double-double Saturday in their win against Pittsburgh. And had one against Louisville last week. These two teams played just 9 days ago in Chapel Hill, and it was a rout. As Tony Bennett said, his team got pounded. 41 points. They lost 65-41, so why not try the smaller lineup? See if you're better off this time around. Justin Jackson, the bucket for North Carolina.
4 paint points for North Carolina, the floater or the push shot. Very rare to see a 6'8" guy like Justin Jackson go to that shot so often. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on tonight.
We had a chance to visit with him this afternoon at their shoot-around. Parentes off the mark, and another rebound for Kennedy Meeks. Lobbed inside for Hicks. Good catch, but he missed from right underneath the bucket, and the rebound down for Kyle Guy, the freshman from Indianapolis. Guy was terrific in their win against NC State in Raleigh Saturday to snap their 4-game losing streak, the longest for Virginia since 2010. 3-second violation, the call against the Cavaliers. 3 minutes in, and they haven't scored.
Yeah, and this is going to be a difficulty for them on the defensive end. I know Hicks doesn't take advantage. He doesn't have a terrific angle, but that's going to be the problematic matchup if you stay small, if you're Virginia.
They come to double Hicks. He whipped it inside. Meeks missed a shorty. But Pinson in control. Berry open for 3. Banks it home from the top of the key and then some.
He gives him the little Michael Jordan with his arms outstretched after he makes it a little sly smile.
69th 3 of the year. Big area of improvement this year for North Carolina over the team that was the national runner-up to Villanova in that scintillating final game last year. They're much more effective from beyond the three-point arc. Hall a miss. Guy kept it alive for Salt. Can they finally score? Yes, it's a three for the freshman, Ty Jerome. They double again. So often Virginia does, almost always, in fact. Here they come to double in the post again, and Devin Hall swiped it away from Kennedy Meeks. Parentes probing. Guy for three. And the rebound down to Hicks. Inside, Salt tried to front, and a push off the call against Kennedy Meeks, and our first media timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by eBay. Find new, unique, and everything in between.
Carolina hoping for a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Tonight's Sonic Showdown in Dorse. When you look at these two teams, they have been the best in the ACC over the last several seasons. Virginia in 2014, first time in school history, they won both the regular season and tournament title in the same year.
And Seth Greenberg was joking in studio on Saturday saying Tony Bennett should win Coach of the Year, because when you think of what they lost over the last several years in terms of quality of offensive player, what he has done to keep this team in the top 25, very, very good coaching job.
Outstanding. Devin Hall stumbled but scored. Tony Bennett's gone to his bench for some big bodies. Isaiah Wilkins and Mamadi Diakite have come in. Wilkins bothered the last couple of days by strep throat. And they force a turnover. Berry trying to dribble in front of the Virginia bench. Fourth turnover caused by Tony Bennett's defense. The pack line on display early.
You love the activity, and how about Devin Hall and the versatility? He starts the game checking Isaiah Hicks, and then he moves to their best player, Justin Jackson.
Hall. Parentes, that's a long two, yes. From the corner for the senior from Los Angeles.
You see Virginia run off that baseline so often. They use their post players to create a little separation in that circle motion.
Hicks, lots of contact and an offensive foul called by Tony Chiazza, working with Doug Shows and Michael Roberts.
On the opposite end, it had been such a challenge prior to NC State. London Parentes getting off the basketball. And this is what you can do when you start your own. He gets to the two-guard spot and he becomes more of a scorer.
North Carolina scored the first 7 points of the game. Now Virginia has scored 7 in a row. It's Allison Williams benching relief for Parentes, seeing that ball go through the bucket on Saturday in their win over the Wolfpack. He was 3 out of 5 from three-point range in that game. Previous 2 games, he was 5 for 25 from the floor and 1 for 11 from 3 against North Carolina in the loss at Chapel Hill, and here last Monday against Miami. Hall, wow. Crowd thought there was lots of contact. Michael Roberts saying it was deflected out of bounds by North Carolina. That doesn't satisfy the Wahoo partisans here in Charlottesville.
Let's see, as long as Kennedy Meeks goes straight up and stays within his vertical cylinder, and the defender from behind, Justin Jackson, doesn't touch him, it's a good call. 4 ticks on the shot clock.
Into Wilkins, batted out of bounds by Meeks.
This is such a hard play to make, Sean, because you're working with such a short side of the floor, and it's become shorter because of where he's inbounding now.
Luke Mays in the game. Desperation heat by Guy. Meeks guarded by Diakite. Berry trying to quiet the crowd. And the rebound yanked down by Isaiah Wilkins, their leading rebounder, just more than 6 per game. But important for Virginia to get off to a good start with the struggles all season long on offense, but particularly with the memory of that drubbing at the hands of the Tar Heels 9 days ago, still fresh in their mind. Marentes tipped up and in by Diakite. 12 straight points for Virginia. Meeks shoots it quickly before the double could get over there. Shot it over Diakite to end the Virginia run.
And that's one of the primary differences. You've got multiple options that you can go to. If you're struggling on the offensive end, go to your interior guys, Meeks and Hicks, and they can generate easy offense. The only way Virginia posts are going to score is on the last possession, that offensive rebound by Diakite.
Diakite had scored only 2 points combined in the last 3 games. Guy banks it home. So now they're even. Berry used the glass to score from 3 for North Carolina earlier, and Guy gets the fortunate break. Meeks doubled. Nate Brick has it spin off and a rebounding foul. Kennedy Meeks called for his second, and that's another big early development.
It's a veritable offensive explosion from the Virginia Cavaliers. I have the Cleveland Cavaliers on Friday, and Mr. Guy, welcome to the show. This guy is a special offensive player. He's under duress of the shot clock, has to shoot it, and this one, he does not call bank, but he'll take the money anyway.
Here in Charlottesville. Now, Kyle Guy has become as well known for his ability to make threes as he has his man bun. Yes, the unique hairstyle. Now, opposing fans rip on him a little bit for it, but the fans here at Virginia, they love it. They are full on embracing it. In fact, the man bun has its own Twitter page with a good amount of followers, I may add. I love the location. It says on top of AG's dome. And, you know, it's natural. It's hair, right? So, of course, it's very paranoid about being cut, including out of pictures, not taking very kindly being cropped out of a photo there that they have on the Twitter feed. Kyle laughed about it. He said, yes, I do follow my own man bun on Twitter. But this is a unique thing with Virginia fans, you guys. They've embraced the bun, but they did the same thing for London Parenta's appendix. It has a Twitter page, as does Devin Hall's shoe.
They're having fun, more fun. And Guy is scoring. He's had an up and down last couple of weeks. A turnover there on the travel for Virginia. He had 19 points, the most he scored in an ACC game Saturday at NC State, but he was scoreless in the previous 2 games at North Carolina, and the game we saw here last Monday against Miami when he barely played, in part because they wanted a little more effort out of him on the defensive end, and he's had a couple of rebounds on that defensive end here in the first half.
Well, he and Ty Jerome, I thought, battled with NC State, and Jerome, I thought, on the backboards, because they downside, was crucial in that win.
Guy, fancy pass out to Wilkins. Darius Thompson in for the first time. Diakite wide open, and way up in the air to take it down, Justin Jackson. Carolina would like to push the pace, but terrific job in transition defense by Virginia here in the first 10 minutes. And a foul against UVA as the ball went inside to the freshman Tony Bradley. Fouls on Wilkins is first. Tuesday on ESPN, an ACC-SEC doubleheader at 7. The 15 Florida State, 17th ranked Duke. Then they'll head to Rupp Arena, number 9 Kentucky, hosting Vanderbilt, a bubble team according to Joey Brackett. Super Tuesday presented every week by CenturyLink on ESPN. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. And as we said, right there on the bubble, Vanderbilt among the last 4 in today.
And the ACC continues on that first 4 out to dominate it. At one point it was 3 or 4 as May gets the jumper down. And my Providence College Friars are rolling right now. 4 big wins against high caliber competition. Go to work, Ed Cooley.
Put down the pom-pom. Let's have a little objectivity. I definitely think Syracuse should be in the field no matter what. Ariel Shayok, a bench player tonight, ordinarily a starter. Jerome, step back three, tough shot. It was well guarded up at the line by Seventh Woods. The freshman is also in off the North Carolina bench. Doesn't play much, but he has appeared in every game. Another Virginia foul. This one's on Jack Salt, the 6'11" redshirt sophomore out of Auckland, New Zealand, called for his first.
Be interesting for Tony Bennett how Shayok plays. I was at practice yesterday. I had the sense that Tony had probably told him he wasn't going to start tonight. So how does he react to that bit of adversity?
Shayok didn't score in 12 minutes. NC State Saturday, Bradley foul, offensive foul to call. As there was contact with Devin Hall, and the call goes against the freshman from Bartow, Florida.
A little pocket pass leads him right into the defender, and Devin Hall, he's done some things tonight on the defensive end. Absorbed a couple of tough assignments and good rotation.
6 Carolina turnovers led to 7 UVA points. Virginia's already made 3 3-point field goals. That's more than they had in the entire game 9 days ago at Chapel Hill when they went 2 for 20 from beyond the arc. Thompson, after a moment's hesitation, maybe should have stuck with his first instinct. Run down in the corner by Seventh Woods. Woods fouled. He hasn't scored in the last 3 games, but he'll have a chance to end that drought from the free throw line. Ty Jerome called for his second foul. He fouled out of that win Saturday against NC State.
Not atypical, Sean, to see so many North Carolina starters on the bench, right? We've seen Roy Williams pull a lot of different strings. When he's frustrated with effort, sometimes he'll pull all 5 starters and sub 5 more in. Allison, you have more on that.
Well, yeah, he's definitely frustrated with Kennedy Meeks during the last time out. Doris, Roy removed himself from the huddle, took a deep breath, came back in, grabbed his own chair, and slammed it in front of Meeks. Proceeded to have a rather heated, not argument, but a conversation with him. And essentially he said, you made a mistake. You need to own that. And you could just see how upset he was with Meeks.
I asked him who drove him more crazy over the course of 4 years, Bryce Johnson or Kennedy Meeks. He said when Bryce stepped between the lines, you knew what you were going to get.
Shayok a miss, Salt the rebound, no rim on either shot, so they had to hoist the 3 by Parentes, and it wouldn't go. So 8.5 to go in the half. 2 to tie again, or 3 for the lead for North Carolina. And to clinch the ACC regular season outright title for the 2nd year in a row. Hey, tough jump hook. Bradley over the back, and Tony Bennett irate. First he thought there should have been a foul, and then he thought Bradley, at the very least, knocked it out of bounds.
It was a tremendous battle. Look at the size differential between those 2 guys, and on the second touch, it certainly looks like that's out of bounds, North Carolina.
Out of bounds again to North Carolina. Nate Britt, now backup guard as a senior. Bradley, very good offensive rebounder as a freshman. If they give this one to Carolina, the crowd, who knows what they would have done. And Tony Bennett manages to laugh now as the ball finally heads in his direction.
You can see how many of the white jerseys are coming back, though. Their guards are going to have to help them against the size of North Carolina.
Virginia leading 15-13. Really all of their offense in that one blast. We're under 8 minutes to go in the first half. That's an open 3. Hall out of the corner. And Jack Salt, a good position. Couldn't come up with the offensive rebound. Pinson poked it away. Pinson, an excellent passer. Whipped it inside to May. That post double, forced to pass, and now a traveling call. The defense of Virginia causing problems for the turnover-prone Tar Heels. Early, they've committed 7. Saturday night in prime time, presented by AT&T. Duke and North Carolina, 8:15 Eastern time. Duke, preseason favorite to win the ACC. Still trying to earn one of the top 4 spots in the final regular season standings, which would give them a double bye at the upcoming New York Life ACC tournament next week in Brooklyn. Kyle Guy rattles home another 3. They've gone more than 4.5 minutes without scoring, missing their previous 7 shots.
It really comes down to jump shooting. If they can make shots, they give themselves a chance because they keep the pace where they want it and they defend so well.
Nice pass inside to Bradley from Theo Pinson, who's coming off a 7-assist game Saturday at Pittsburgh.
Frankly, Sean, I think he's their best passer, and I think that's why he was such a significant miss early in the season. You know, Joel Berry is a tremendous guard, but he's more of a scoring point guard than he is a setup guy.
Pinson, prior to tonight, had played in only 11 games this season due to injuries. He had 11 in assists in 4 of those 11 games. His assist-to-turnover ratio, Doris, starting tonight, 37 assists, just 9 turnovers for Theo Pinson. Guy, tough shot. Diakite fielded the air ball, but they ran out of time. Shot clock violation. Well, Tony Bennett's team dealing with scoring droughts again. Scoreless for the first 4 minutes of this game, then went on a 15-2 run over a 4-minute stretch. Then went 4.5 minutes without scoring before the 3 by Guy, and that's a travel as Hicks took an extra step on the catch.
Sean, you mentioned the stretch Virginia went without scoring, but they're actually really pleased with the looks they've gotten, and Tony Bennett just told them to keep running that offense and to shoot it with confidence. They said they got to convert on those open looks, but really happy with the looks they're getting.
Well, Roy Williams, when the Tar Heels held Virginia to 41 points 9 days ago in Chapel Hill, he felt, yeah, it was good defense, but Virginia missed a lot of shots that they should have made. Wilkins scores inside. Matter of fact, the 41 points, that's the best scoring defense game North Carolina's had in 14 seasons under Roy Williams.
And they know it's always going to be a grind. They win that basketball game on the strength of their defense. But how about in the tenure of Roy Williams head-to-head against Tony Bennett? They've only scored over 75 one time, Sean.
Not surprising given how well Virginia guards under Coach Bennett. That's a 3 for Nate Britt, who was 0 for 9 from 3. Hasn't had one, Doris, in over a month.
Wow. Well, that was wide open thanks to his teammate. And if Virginia's going to hard double, they've got to be able to recover quickly out of it.
This is the classic matchup of one of the best offensive teams in the country. North Carolina against perhaps the best defensive team in Virginia. Justin Jackson for 3. He's had a quiet start. But that was beautiful and really indicative of his improvement as an outside shooter. Roy Williams says he's never had a player who's worked harder, put up more shots in practice to improve as a shooter than Justin Jackson.
Well, how about over his first 2 years, only 18% of his points come from 3. This year, 40%. That's improvement.
All a miss. Wilkins attacked the offensive glass, and that's out of bounds to Virginia. Off the leg of Britt. He tried to argue the point, but he's not going to win the argument.
Amazing how quickly you are willing to pull the trigger when you've paid the price in the gym. Hard work is what gives you confidence, and then success carries over on the floor.
He shot 29%. Jackson did from 3 last year. He's at 40% this year. Parenta, strong drive, short with the layup. North Carolina, the ball in a 1-point lead with 4 minutes to go in the first half, the start of our final big Monday of this regular season. Berry into traffic and into Wilkins, who blocked it. He's their leading shot blocker. Meeks on the floor for a held ball. And the arrow sends it back to Virginia. Wilkins took a shot in the face. They'll look at him during the media timeout. 3:49 to go. As we go to break, we'll see if we can figure out what happened to Wilkins. Ooh, took an inadvertent elbow from Kennedy Meeks.
It's still offensively challenged. They get nothing from their front.
What they're saying about Kyle Guy, he's the man. Sean?
He's the man bun. He's the man bun.
Yeah, he's the guy. He has 9 points. I think the most important thing, Virginia even on the glass, out rebounded by 18 in that first meeting 9 days ago. Salt fouled as he attacked the basket. Isaiah Hicks, the bucket. They spent a lot of time on the bench during that timeout asking Isaiah Wilkins a lot of questions. You could also see that his right eye was a little bit puffy from taking the elbow from Meeks. In this day and age, so much concern, and rightly so, about concussions. They're going to make sure he's all right before he comes back in. Hicks' second foul. He's been foul prone lately. Jack Salt makes the free throw. And here's another look at the right elbow of Meeks hitting Wilkins in the right eye. Checking his vision now as well. But he's an important player, as the gentleman were just saying from the studio. Leading rebounder and really one of the few in the Virginia uniform who can compete on the glass with these big bodies and athletic front court of North Carolina. Jack Salt called for a foul, and then Michael Roberts gave him a look as if to say, that's enough talk from you, as he got tangled with Kennedy Meeks in the post. Second foul on Salt.
He's trying not to get caught behind Kennedy Meeks, because if you get caught behind, Meeks is going to score or get fouled. But between he and Hicks, those two guys getting to the free throw line over 7 times a game. And Salt goes out.
Placed by Jared Reuter, and travel is the call. Wednesday, an NBA doubleheader starting with the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference at 8. LeBron and the Cavs taking on Isaiah Thomas and the Celtics. And on to the Staples Center for the Western Conference clash between James Harden and the Rockets. And Chris Paul and the Clippers. Coverage tips of NBA Countdown presented by State Farm at 7. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN. Will you be at either one of those games?
I am working Friday, which is why I keep saying Cleveland Cavaliers, not Virginia Cavaliers. And just got a notification on my phone that Darren Williams has in fact signed with the Cavs. So LeBron's plea for a playmaker has been answered.
Darius Thompson way off. Jared Reuter had his hands on the rebound, could not corral it. And certainly the pace, the score, where Virginia would like it. Low scoring and slow pace. Rebound batted around to Thompson as Virginia continues to hold its own on the glass against the best rebounding team in the country. All off the curl, yes. The indication is that it's a 2, I believe. Michael Roberts was gesturing to the table to save it because they're going to look at it. And then a foul on Diakite. There seemed to be some question as to whether or not this last one was a 2 or a 3 for Hall.
Well, this is what I've been talking about, their willingness and ability to play off the post. Reuter, it doesn't have to be a screen, Sean. It just has to be enough of a misdirection for the defense. And Devin Hall, to me, has been through even that 4-game losing skid the most confident offensive player for Tony Bennett.
And you saw Michael Roberts actually signal it a 3, and that's what they put on the board. I still think they may review it. Down to 2 minutes to go in the half. May. Pass picked off. Terrible pass. Deflected by Hall and intercepted by Guy. Guy to the baseline to Hall. The Virginia defense leading to offense. That was the 10th North Carolina turnover. It leads to 2 more points for the Wahoos. May, nice pass. Tough to get it through to Bradley, but he found the big fella. Freshman at 6'11" out of Bartow, Florida.
I think if North Carolina could stop turning it over, be a little bit more patient. If their transition game is taken away, why they don't go into the post on every possession is beyond me. They've got the advantage. Think about Roy Williams' best teams. They play through the post. I know this is a more perimeter-oriented team, but tonight they have a matchup advantage in there.
5 seconds to shoot. Hall fires an air ball. And North Carolina takes over with 50 seconds to go in the half.
Well, you've been talking about the defense of Virginia. They're going to come with a little jump in the passing lane. Kyle Guy going to turn it the other direction. And a quick strike. Oh, don't see them do that unless they're going to get a layup or a clean look.
Takeaway this time. Parentis picked the pocket of Jackson, and a foul called as Parentis' shot got swatted by Bradley, but there was body contact.
Well, there's a reason Justin Jackson has been quiet. You know, London Parentis doing a good job shadowing him, and anytime these posts get an opportunity, especially right there, they want to blow up any action out front with Justin Jackson and playing off their defenses when Virginia's at its best.
It looked like Reuter poked it away to Parentis. 12 North Carolina turnovers in the half. Parentis after the foul on Bradley, his second. So Wilkins is back in, checked out by the Virginia medical staff. His vision, and put through some concussion tests, and he's cleared to go. Solid effort by Reuter, active as usual. Parentis, 81% free throw shooter, puts UVA up by 5 in the final half minute of the first half here at raucous John Paul Jones Arena in Charlottesville. Time to go. Berry underneath for Bradley. May kept it alive. Pinson can't get it up in time. Well, they're hanging in there. They've been out rebounded, but nowhere near as much as was the case 9 days ago in the one-sided North Carolina win. Here's Allison with Tony Bennett.
Coach Bennett, UNC comes in as the top rebounding team in the country. How have you been able to stay with them on the boards?
Well, fight. This is the time of the year when nothing soft will work, and our guys are playing hard. Not perfect. We were using the board on some of our threes, as they did too, right? So it's equal, but they are scrapping, and we're just trying to play as hard as we can and as smart as we can and using everyone.
They have such a size advantage. What have you done defensively to try and take that away?
Well, we've scrapped. We've tried to trap the post. It's been good at times. We tried to get into the ball a little more so they can't window shop and throw it in, and I like how our guys are doing that, and now we got to try to do it again.
Tony, thank you. Sean?
And for Tony Bennett, back-to-back strong games for the freshman Kyle Guy. Some awkward-looking threes, but he made 3 out of 4, and he was the catalyst behind their rally. The halftime report, Carl, but a big turnaround from the game 9 days ago when North Carolina won by 24 points.
Don't they have the look of a team that was handled in the first matchup and came with pride and fight? That's exactly how they've got the lead.
Doing it with defense. Here's tonight's defensive spotlight brought to you by Michelin.
Well, there's the hard double in the post that Tony mentioned with Allison. If you're going to play down, you've got to come with a hard, strong double. How about the fantastic hands of Parentis? Tony likes that fight. They're going to blow up any of this action out front with Justin Jackson. I thought they defended really well. Even Kyle Guy, who has had limited time at moments because of his defense, he was terrific. And this turns into a score. Let's go to Allison with Roy Williams.
Coach, how do you try to address the 12 turnovers?
Well, we stunk it up. Their defense was a million times stronger than our offense. We were playing scared. We're not doing what we've been doing all year long. We got to get in the post, and those guys got to be able to make a play and not turn it over. They had 8 of the turnovers, so we got to be more aggressive.
Yeah, how can you take better advantage with your bigs, especially Meeks and Hicks combining for just the 4 points?
Well, we didn't play worth a darn. You know, they got to be more aggressive. When they get the ball, Kennedy caught it one time and went straight up for a move and scored, but every time else we're running around looking for mama.
Right, thank you.
They went into Meeks. He sent it out to Berry for a 3. And it's run down in the corner by Isaiah Wilkins. The 12 turnovers in the half, that is what North Carolina averages for a game for the season. The 12 turnovers, the most that they would have had in any full game over the last 7. They had 12 in the ball game against Louisville on Wednesday night, their home win. Kyle Guy, shot clock down to 6 as Parentis fires an air ball from 3-point range.
Do you have the sense, based on that interview with Roy, that perhaps it was less about strategy and more about showing some toughness here on the road? This guy always comes with fight and passion, Roy Williams.
I think his frustration with Meeks is because he thinks that's up and down in Kennedy Meeks. Jackson, no. Tipped by Berry out of bounds. So both teams off target to start the half in a minute plus. Roy Williams, in his 14th season as head coach at North Carolina, has won his 8th regular season ACC championship since he's been back in the league as a head coach. The next highest total is 3 ACC regular season titles by Coach K and Duke. Here's Hall for 3. Devin Hall gives Virginia its biggest lead of the night.
That's action they run quite often. They get the ball to Parentis. The guy who gives it to him just flares. That post player sets the screen, and they go wide and get a nice look.
They got it into Meeks, and again, Doris, it looks like now when he's getting the ball, knowing the double teams are coming, he's shooting the ball very quickly.
Right, and you know what, Sean, it's okay on that catch to kick it, repost, or maybe reverse the ball and see if you can't enter it on the other side. But if you're going to stay on one side of the floor with Virginia, it's going to be a long night. They like to keep you trapped in the short side.
Foul difficulty again tonight for Hicks. That foul is his 3rd. He played just 9 minutes in the first half, so he's played 11 total. Kyle Guy, another 3. That one popped out to Justin Jackson.
It's the exact same play for a different player. Consecutive possessions for Virginia.
Boy, Jackson settles for a very tough shot. Fadeaway deep 2, run down by Guy.
And I got to say this, Kyle Guy has figured out, if I don't play defense and I don't check out and do all the fundamental things in the pack line, I ain't playing. Because doing this alone is not going to get you time for Tony Bennett.
Hicks with the first points of the half for North Carolina, team leading the ACC in scoring. And in this battle of offense versus defense, it's Virginia setting the tone tonight, 3 minutes into the second half. Salt really not a scoring threat down low. Wilkins missed a long jumper. And a battle for the free ball controlled by Joel Berry, the junior from Apopka, Florida. Jackson underneath. Meeks again had trouble possessing the ball. Flipped out of bounds by UVA.
Well, this was off the checkout on the weak side against a bigger body, and Kyle Guy sprints down the other end of the floor, goes side to side, and gets a wide open 3. And look, he's just going to sprint. Look at the lazy defense by North Carolina. Boy, that is not good effort.
And Pinson, who was lazy getting out there, is on the bench, and Meeks loses it in the low post.
The hope for Virginia is that Kyle Guy can eventually become the man. And when you look at his freshman season compared to some other pretty notable players for Virginia, what he's doing is pretty impressive considering how few minutes he's playing. You know, Justin Anderson averaged 7.6 points per game, but he was playing 24 minutes a game. Guy is averaging just under that and playing just over 17 minutes a game. And that's more points per game than Parentis or Malcolm Brogdon did in their freshman year. I talked to Kyle Guy about the minutes he's playing, and he said, look, I do get a little frustrated sometimes, but not with the coaches, with myself, because I know I have to play good D to be on the court.
Berry, the layup off the missed dunk by Hall. And Guy's 7.4 per game was entering tonight. That's going to go up with his 12 points and counting tonight. Mr. Basketball in Indiana last year and a McDonald's All-American.
It's a different feel to him than past great players at Virginia. The very business-like Joe Harris and Malcolm Brogdon. I like the swag that this guy plays with, Sean. It's a little bit of an edge to him.
Guy jumped it off. Wilkins a miss. Wilkins a tip. Salt missed a very short tip and another.
Wow. How about the multiple opportunities? That's got to be frustrating to Roy Williams. This guy's bigger, stronger, and typically do a tremendous job on the defensive backboards.
Pace quickening. That should help North Carolina. Meeks cleans up the miss. The air ball fired by Nate Britt.
Tony Bennett referenced that, right? The window shopping that they can do. This guy averages almost 4 offensive rebounds a game.
And his team slowing the pace now. It's started to pick up a bit. In a game like this, you can't afford to miss 3 or 4 tips at the rim, as Wilkins and Salt did on the last possession. Hall took a bump and will go to the free throw line, fouled by Brandon Robinson, the freshman from Douglasville, Georgia.
But the half, it was interesting. You have a Virginia team that was battling on the boards, getting points off turnovers, beating Carolina at their own game. This looks like a Carolina offensive possession, but it's Virginia doing work.
Duke, North Carolina.
By Jaguar, the art of performance.
Well, yesterday, on a beautiful day here in Charlottesville, Alice Williams in Dorisburg visited Monticello. What did you learn you didn't know?
Okay, the coolest invention maybe amongst many by Thomas Jefferson. He created a machine that when he, and you know he was a letter writer extraordinaire, he would be writing with one pen and the contraption would have another pen duplicating his writing.
Wow. Monticello, of course, designed by Thomas Jefferson when he was 26 years old, from land he inherited from his father. Just outside Charlottesville. Some of us were busily preparing for the game, while others were on field trips.
Expanding our horizons.
It was all in the name of research, Sean.
Yes.
What I was most impressed by and really appreciated was the fact that he had a dumbbell that went, dumbwaiter, excuse me, that went down to his wine cellar and brought up the wine bottle. That was my favorite part of the tour.
I used to have a dumbbell that bring the wine named Bill Rafter. Thomas Jefferson here tonight. North Carolina down by 6. Bear in mind, even though they hammered North Carolina, did hammer Virginia 9 days ago. They scored just 65 points, which is 21 points below their season average. So they scuffled with the Virginia defense that night. It was just that Virginia was horrific on offense and didn't create any offense off the defense, as the Cavaliers have tonight.
Sean, the starters on the bench again for Roy Williams. So the frustration continues and the hot shooting of Guy continues.
5 threes for Guy. 5 out of 7 for 15 points. The lead up to 9 for UVA. And Ty Jerome called for a hand check. So for the second straight game, foul difficulty, fouled out in 23 minutes against NC State on Saturday, and he has 3 fouls tonight. He's played just 9 minutes.
Sean, I thought he had a couple of tough whistles at North Carolina State. In fact, there were 2 that I thought were not good calls. But in that instance, you know the new rules. It just, you can't get too handy out there on the perimeter.
And a Virginia foul called as Brandon Robinson went to the bucket. Robinson hasn't played much lately, but he's in there at an important part of the game here for Coach Williams. It's the second foul on Mamadi Diakite. What a turnaround for Kyle Guy. Scoreless against North Carolina 9 days ago, and last Monday here against Miami. And then he put up 19 in the very next game, 35 minutes Saturday against NC State, and he's been the man tonight for Virginia.
He played 2 minutes in that Miami game on a night they needed offense. So it was a very powerful message about how he had to contribute. They can't afford to give up things on the defensive end. The kid has taken the message to heart.
Guy jumped in the air. A better pass would have led to a 3 for Thompson, but it was at his shins. 5 to shoot. They need a shot. Darius Thompson high off the bank. Jared Reuter on the glass. Jared Reuter had it blocked, I believe, by Bradley. Britt, little stop and go move. And again, that Virginia defense reacts quickly. And Diakite blocks the shot tried by 7th Woods. Robinson nearly traveled. May underneath for Bradley, and a big bucket for the Tar Heels.
On both ends, Bradley's length problematic for the Cavaliers. He's just bigger.
And there's a foul. Woods too frisky on Jerome at the midcourt line. First on 7th, Woods.
Now, Kyle Guy has got 15 points. He had a couple tough shots from 3 in the first half under duress of the shot clock. This would be one of them. You heard the buzzer as he makes the shot. This one off the window. He didn't call it. This one, that's pure.
Kansas on another regular season conference championship. That's what North Carolina has secured, at least to share the ACC title. Trying to wrap up the outright ACC championship tonight. Right now, Joey Brackets has them as a #1 seed. Louisville at 2. Syracuse in the last 4 byes, and Georgia Tech and Wake Forest barely out.
Well, they were talking about Big 12 teams you wouldn't want to see. I wouldn't want to see Louisville. And how about the year Frank Mason has had? 111 wins, 27 losses in his career. His efficiency is off the charts. He has been dynamite for Bill Self.
Could well be the National Player of the Year. Justin Jackson in that conversation. He hasn't helped himself much tonight against this pesky Virginia defense. Has just 5 points. 5 on the shot clock, so Jerome a heave, and that'll be run down by Bradley. Would have been a shot clock violation. They did take a long look during the last media timeout at the last 3 made by Guy, and they kept it as a 3-point score. And Berry rattles home a 3 for North Carolina to make it a 3-point game.
You just keep waiting for North Carolina to make one of those patented runs because they've got so many different options on the offensive end. And it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Does Meeks play again? Bradley has got 6 points and 3 boards in short minutes.
He's played with a knee that's bothered him all season long. Hicks bothered by a hamstring lately. A long 2 for Isaiah Wilkins. Hicks was having his leg stretched during the last media timeout. He's gone to the table to check in for UNC. 5-point game as we approach the midpoint of the second half. Berry for 3. Off the mark. Luke May, the offensive rebound, blocked from behind by Wilkins. He thought it should have been Virginia ball, and maybe just trying to earn the call. He didn't sway Michael Roberts.
Let's watch Joel Berry work off some action. The double comes, and this is what we talked about, handling the double a little bit better, because if you find the open shooter, you're going to get a clean look.
Justin Jackson scores inside off the inbounding action. 3-point game again. So much better for North Carolina in this half in terms of the turnovers. They've committed just 1 after committing 12 in the first half. But Virginia has turned it over only 3 times for the game. Ty Jerome had a good look, and a shot again way off for Jerome. Running the floor, Bradley lays it in. It's a 1-point game.
Boy, how terrific was the pass. Bradley does a heck of a job catching and finishing it. It had to be perfectly placed, and Justin Jackson puts it where it needs to be.
10-2 run for the Tar Heels. Not turning it over, and therefore tougher to score for Virginia. Parente's for 3. His first from long distance tonight. 1 out of 4 from beyond the arc. 201 career threes for Perrantes. 6th all-time at UVA. Pinson trying to answer. And Wilkins again with good position on the glass for Virginia.
Well, you can see every time North Carolina has action with guys who can score it, Virginia blows up that action, just tries to take them into a situation where they're using a bit more clock.
Wilkins guarded by Hicks. Well, everybody vacated. The rebound hit the floor to North Carolina. Salt edged out on Berry for a moment, then retreats, and a foul called as Berry got hit on the dribble. Will take us to another immediate timeout. It's the second foul on Isaiah Wilkins. When we come back, Doris Burke will chat with one of the best players in the country, the Tar Heels, Justin Jackson, talking about how he hits that floater.
And they need to sort of change their trajectory or pull up before they meet size inside. How did you get yours going? Because I call yours sort of cross between a floater and a push.
You know, for me growing up, I was always small, kind of skinnier. Didn't really like contact, so I just started shooting it. So I didn't practice it. I didn't really do anything to work on it. But it was a way for me to score without necessarily having to, you know, take contact or having to get in the big. So, you know, I just kind of kept it going throughout the years, and I'm just blessed to be 6'8" with it.
It's not a bad thing.
It's not.
Don't tell people you don't like contact, because tonight you can take some hits. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Likable young man, homeschooled in the Houston area before he came to North Carolina. Virginia, no turnovers in more than 24 minutes. North Carolina's gone 8 minutes now without a turnover after the turnover blizzard in the first half. Tough luck for Perrantes, but then a North Carolina foul, and it's on Hicks on the rebounding activity, and that's the 4th on Isaiah Hicks.
On the other end, there was no whistle. And we'll take a quick look. Roy was upset about this, but again, as long as he thinks that he's earned the foul, and you can make the case, but again, and this is something that they've adopted from the NBA, Sean, as long as that defender goes straight up in his vertical cylinder, then those officials are just officiating what they've been told.
Salt was the pillar of strength in that instance. There's Perrantes with a 3. Hicks on the bench with his 4 fouls. Virginia by 7 with 7:10 to go.
See if Carolina can get a touch in the post. Can Kennedy Meeks get an easy opportunity?
9 days ago, Virginia was 2 for 20 in Chapel Hill. They're 9 for 21 from 3 tonight. Meeks had the turnaround shot pop out, and it was run down by Mamadi Diakite.
I did like the possession, though. There was more patience. Ball changed sides. Kennedy Meeks came back to the strong side.
Guy underneath, Salt. Yes, it wasn't pretty, and it took a while, but he's given Virginia a 9-point lead. Underneath, Meeks, short with it. Tried to lean into Diakite. Roy Williams doesn't like the officiating underneath the basket, but the indication given again was that the defender was straight up. Under 6 minutes to go. Perrantes stripped out of bounds to Virginia with 9 on the shot clock.
That's a real challenge for these guys to score the basketball. This is just simple dive cut, and you're right, it took a while for Salt to go in.
That was the first field goal of the night for the New Zealander, Jack Salt. Timeout, Virginia.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by eBay. Find new, unique, and everything in between on eBay.
3 teams tied for second place, all hoping for an opportunity to perhaps share the regular season crown. Florida State, Notre Dame, Louisville all cheering for Virginia tonight. And right now getting help from the Cavaliers with under 6 minutes to go. Lead by 9. Out of the timeout. Hall's bank shot too strong and taken off the glass by Kennedy Meeks. Joel Berry all the way to the rim. Nifty bucket by Joel Berry.
Well, you expect a guy with his experience and pedigree to go ahead and seize an opportunity. Your team's struggling. You haven't been able to manufacture many points. Game is starting to dwindle away.
One of the best point guards in the country, Joel Berry, one of the 10 finalists for the Bob Cousy Award as the best point guard in the nation. With a big score there, 10 points for Berry. The Virginia lead is 7. It looks like the defensive intensity picking up a little bit on the perimeter here for North Carolina. Line drive shot wouldn't go for Diakite. Here come the Tar Heels, down by 7 with 5 minutes to go. Diakite helped out on Jackson, who whips it underneath. Bradley rejected at the rim by Diakite.
Virginia got aggressive with their bigs. Diakite a factor on the defensive end. Not a force here, so you can be aggressive with your bigs and double if you want to.
Virginia, against that big front line, has blocked 7 shots tonight, and they turn it over for just the 4th time tonight. Their first in the second half.
Well, let's take a look at Diakite. He'll get better on the offensive end, but how about that? Meet Mr. Bradley right at the rim.
His second block of the night. Wilkins has 3. That turnover by Virginia, the first in 25.5 minutes of game action. Ten to shoot. Jackson. Looks to me like he's settled a few times tonight, Doris.
There's no question about it. That's a case in point. London Parentes just doing a great job staying attached to him. And you make him a jump shooter off balance like that from a step beyond the arc, you've done your job.
10 to shoot for Virginia. They can milk the clock with a lead as well as any team in the country. Parentes from NBA distance, out of bounds, big call, and it'll go to Virginia. Last touch by Bradley, so a full shot clock with 3:33 to go after the media timeout.
Virginia has handled the first 2 times this team met, and what fight, what effort. Parentes, he had been struggling prior to Saturday against NC State. A couple of big threes. They meet him at the rim. Virginia.
Cheer off the window. West Virginia's got a 7-point lead at that point, 47-41 right now. John?
Similar score to our game, Rabbi. 48-41 Virginia, running the clock as we approach 3 minutes to go. London Parentes, an enormous 3 for the Wahoos. This matches the largest lead of the game, and another turnover. Jackson lost it. Guy has help coming from Wilkins, but there was a foul on the lay-in. So no basket on the dunk by Wilkins, but Guy will go to the line to shoot 2.
Well, how about Parentes? He gets the switch he wants. There's plenty of time on that clock. It's unusual for Virginia to pull the trigger, especially with time and score being what it is. And then off the defensive play, the run out. And I tend to agree with Joel Berry. I didn't think that was a good call. I didn't think Joel Berry fouled him there, Sean.
It was his second. Guy missed the first.
Joel Berry asking the official, you know, where'd I catch him? And I agree. I didn't think he fouled him.
Boy, he missed both. Guy's a 74% free throw shooter, but doesn't get there often, just 31 attempts all season long. This is game number 29 of the season, so he averages just more than 1 free throw attempt per game, and then Wilkins called for his 3rd foul. 2 big misses. And North Carolina Lowest point total here is 62 in their loss at Miami. They have just 41 tonight. Pinson missed a three. Kept alive by Jackson. Then blocked by Wilkins. Fourth block of the night for Isaiah Wilkins, the stepson of Dominique Wilkins.
Well, they're working so hard on the defensive end, and you've got to be able to make sure you don't give up offensive boards, putbacks, and how about Wilkins twice on the pipes?
Do they have enough time left to score 10 points? That'll help. Barry leans in, and a three-point foul call. Tony Bennett hates the call. You can't call that. He says that Tony Chiazza, but he did. Guy whistled with a personal.
You wonder, did he travel first? He establishes, oh, there's no question, Sean. He lifts that left foot. That's a travel first.
Barry is one of the best free throw shooters in North Carolina history. As a matter of fact, earlier this year, he was #1 in North Carolina history, but he's tailed off from the line lately. Just 29 for his last 49. Entering tonight, and there's 1 out of 2 on this trip. 4 out of 6 from the line tonight for North Carolina. Very few free throws in the game. Virginia shot 5 out of 8.
And Carolina comes with some pressure now. Try to force Virginia into some mistakes.
They have big bodies at the front of that press. They got it off the guy. They need to get it over. And they do. 2:20 to go. 20 on the shot clock. Virginia by 8. Beautiful pass by Parentes to Guy. First 2-point field goal of the night for Kyle Guy. He has 17. Jackson, no. And a foul on the rebound against Isaiah Hicks.
Boy, that's an instance where you think the size of Hicks, he could come cleanly over the top, but yet another whistle goes against Carolina here.
He's fouled out with 2 points and 3 rebounds. He needed 3 points tonight to reach 1,000 for his career, so that'll have to wait for another day. It'll be the 76 Tar Heel to reach 1,000 career points when he gets there. Likely against Duke. That's their final regular season game in Chapel Hill on Saturday with game day there. They might need to win that one to wrap up the outright ACC title. They've clinched a share. There are 3 teams tied for second who are thinking more about a share if this one stays in Virginia's win column.
How about that? You force Wilkins to take the shot, but you don't get the rebound. You got to guard another 30 here unless you foul.
Parentes for a dagger, just short. Kept alive by Wilkins. They have earned the win tonight by outworking the North Carolina Tar Heels. On the back cut, Hall. Another beautiful pass by Parentes. Hall couldn't finish. And then a Virginia foul.
Well, you could sense the frustration from Roy Williams at the half, I thought, in the interview with Allison. And it was as much about the fight or lack thereof, or what he thought was Virginia taking the fight to his team. And they have, Sean. They've beaten Carolina at their own game. Battled them on the glass. Multiple looks.
Jackson's had a dreadful night. Meeks got it out to Barry, but we're down to 30 seconds to go. Barry, no. Meeks hits the floor, but didn't take the ball with him. And now the party begins in earnest. No! Where Wilkins there. After Hall missed the dunk, it's a held ball. Virginia will keep it. So Virginia's going to earn its 20th win of the season. That's 6 seasons in a row with 20 wins or more, the school record. It's their 10th ACC win. It's 5 seasons in a row. They will have done that, extending their school record. Only the days of Ralph Sampson really rival this era of Virginia basketball, engineered by one of the great coaches at any level in the game of basketball today, 37-year-old Tony Bennett. With a team that has trouble scoring, they win with hustle and attitude and defense.
Told me yesterday he came to the ACC because he wanted to know, could he coach against the likes of Roy and Kay? The answer is a definitive yes. We're talking about a team that was handled in the first matchup. And how about North Carolina, for all its offensive prowess against the nation's best defense, could muster 43 points.
Hard to believe.